Welcome to the Kubus podcast. In each episode, we will be meeting the individuals who can give us real insight into the problems, solutions, and people in our technology industry.
Hey guys, welcome to today's instalment of the Kubus podcast. My name is Paul Rayns. I've worked for Kubus Group now for over 20 years. My role here, I look after some of the larger accounts in our portfolio. And I was asked to do this podcast today, very honoured to accept. However, with the prerequisite that the guest would be somebody not only revered through the channel, a big hitter, somebody who dresses well, devastatingly handsome. Sadly, Gordon McIntosh wasn't available at Juniper. So we've got his understudy, somebody that I'm proud to call a friend, Dale Smith.
Hello, mate.
How are you, buddy?
Good to see you.
Would you like to, for the wider audience, introduce yourself, please, and perhaps tell us a bit about your role and your history of working at Juniper?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, thank you for having me.
Okay.
Great to be here. So, yeah, I'm Dale Smith. I'm the channel leader here at Juniper Networks for Europe. And I've been at Juniper for just under 7 years now. I think we've known each other a lot longer than that. But a 7-year journey at Juniper has just been incredible. Really has. In fact, fully enough, my first day within Juniper started within this organisation.
Happy memories then.
Absolutely. Well, do you know what? It probably wasn't the easiest day for me. Yeah. As you know, I started as one of the channel managers in the channel UK organisation, and hardware, previous name, Kubus, was one of my key accounts, and it was exciting times. So Michelle Ayres brought me to the sales floor.
Good friend of mine.
Absolutely, a friend of yours, a friend of mine, and it was a tricky day. I came down here just to get to know the business, to talk to the leaders, understand strategy, full of energy. But I was just swamped by this great organisation, wanting to do quotes and re-quotes and stock checks, and it was just like, wow.
Baptism of fire, yeah?
It really was.
The good old days,
It really was. So, yeah, great place to be. And, great to be here today as well.
So, obviously, Dale, we've known each other a while. Like you say, probably 10 years or so now. What people won't know is outside of the Juniper world and the work world, we have shared interests.
We do.
Passionate shared interests.
Very passionate.
And I will be doing a disservice to ourselves if we do not discuss the mighty world-famous team, Nottingham Forest, who we both support.
Absolutely.
I see you most home games on Saturdays.
It's funny that I do see you more at the City Ground than I do see you
It's strange.
in the IT industry, but it's great always to be around there. And it has been a great start to the season. Sure. I mean, it's surpassed my expectations. It really has. The good old days are back. I know we're not quite winning all the trophies yet, but the energy, the momentum, it's definitely with us, and it's just great times.
And so, leading question, which everybody hates, but
go on.
Given our start, we have done realities. After 25 years in the wilderness, where do you think the team can finish this year? I've already put my neck on the block and said top 10.
Is that your head or your heart talking?
Well, bit of both, I think.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay. I think a top 12 to 13 is possible.
Yeah.
But that is obviously dependent on a bit of luck, good momentum, and continuing the sort of form that we're enjoying.
A lot of luck, I think.
Yeah. It's a tough league. It's a tough league.
Well, I've said to people previously, like, there's not an easy game. There really isn't an easy game, and I think that was a baptism of fire when we come up from the championship. I can remember, name drop, but a good friend of mine invited me as a guest up to Man City, and I was adamant we were going to go up there and, turn them over.
Yeah.
We're 3-0 down in 20 minutes and lost 6-0. Yeah. And there's the baptism of fire. The gulf between Championship and Premier League is vast. You don't realise how it is until you're in that spot. I feel for the teams that come up this year because it looks even wider.
It does, I agree. And I think that's what might keep us a little bit safer. But Forest are enjoying a great journey. There's no doubt. There's a lot of energy. And actually, and I'm genuinely speaking here, I see a lot of parallels with Forest and maybe Juniper Networks.
Sure.
We're a challenger vendor. Forest are that sort of challenger team to the division, right? They're disruptive, they're innovative, they're energetic, and they're wanting to sort of punch above their weight, so to speak. And they've got the country behind them.
Sure.
And it kind of feels like there's a lot of parallels with Juniper Networks and what we're trying to achieve. We're really trying to fast track our way through in terms of the market share opportunity. We've got some of the best technology akin to Forest with some of the best
Sure.
players.
Of course.
And some of the best partners, such as Kubus. So there are some great parallels, and it's really exciting.
So Dale, you just alluded to partnerships then.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, Kubus, Juniper Elite Plus partner now.
Yeah.
I remember the early days when we first took on Juniper as a vendor, and zero to hero, a very, very quick fast track for us because we embraced everything. How important, especially in the current market,
Yes.
are partnerships to Juniper?
Oh, hugely. I mean, without our partners, there is no Juniper, quite frankly. And that is an absolutely rock solid fact. We need our partners to come on the same journey with us, to be hand in glove with us, and to be, absolutely shoulder to shoulder in order for us all to achieve our goals. And like yourselves, Paul, Kubus, you're doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Right?
What would you say differentiates a good partner from an average partner in the Juniper world?
Well, we need good partners, right? Sure. We have some very, very big goals at Juniper. Our ambition, quite frankly, is to be the market share leader in enterprise networking. Yeah. Full stop. Now, that's a long journey, right? Sure. That's not a short-term journey. That's a big aspiration. We truly believe that we've got the technology, in terms of our portfolio, which is industry validated to be the best out there. So we feel very fortunate to have that within our sort of portfolio. But technology is not enough, right? We need our partners to really come on the same journey with us and to invest into that journey with us. Now, we've talked about it already, right? Kubus and hardware as you were before.
Sure.
You've invested in Juniper from day one, substantially.
Yep.
Okay. You've invested multiple millions of dollars in the go-to-market. You've invested in people, skills, certifications, stock, marketing, everything that we could ever desire. You have been there since day one. And that's great for us.
I think we're one of just a handful of Elite Plus partners. Is that correct?
You are indeed in the UK, absolutely, which is the top echelons of what we have in the program. And with that comes a lot of investment from you, but actually from us comes a lot of expectation that you really do match. The expectations on growth and go to market to open up new verticals, to drive more demos and POCs and opportunities.
Sure.
These are all the things that we're looking for from a great partner, and you're bringing them to us in droves, and we're really, really appreciative.
Something that I'm sure people have seen, some extensive advertising campaigns online, etc.
Yes.
All around AI native. And, from people looking from the outside in might not know what that is. I was lucky enough to attend, obviously, events, webinars, etc. Obviously, as we touched upon, I was with sort of, the hierarchy of Juniper at F1 this year.
Yes.
Obviously, with them being a major sponsor of Aston Martin and the trackside technology.
Absolutely.
But can you explain a little bit, in layman's terms as best you can, around that AI native? And what exactly does that mean, please?
Well, quite frankly, it's all about AI now.
Yeah.
Right, let's just simplify what the industry is going through. And this is really important, I think, in terms of AI. You work for a great partner organization here where, AI is awash in our industry, quite frankly. It's probably overstated. A lot of vendors will talk about AI in a future state, or they'll talk about AI as a marketing bolt-on or an update. What we're talking about is having a technology portfolio that is AI native, and is AI ready now, not in the future.
I was going to say, Dale, because it seems you've touched on a really good point there, that everything I see at the moment is AI this, AI that. Everybody's jumping on the proverbial AI bandwagon. But to coin that phrase, this is not Juniper's first rodeo with AI. AI's been there for quite a while now.
It certainly has. I mean, again, let's just do a bit of a history lesson. Let's go back 25 years or so. Yeah. When it was the internet sort of, era, .com bubble, everything like that. Back in the 90s. Do you remember the 90s? You must remember.
I don't know if I'm that
bit hazy.
A bit hazy. But
long time ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a quarter of a century ago. I mean, it's mind-bogglingly scary a long time ago. But back then, that was the big time. That sort of generational opportunity in our industry.
Sure.
Where things were rocketing on with the internet, and the opportunity was seismic for partners, for vendors, for the industry to do something game-changing. Sure. And that's what I genuinely feel.
It really does feel like that.
It does really, doesn't it? Like, we're back there again, back in the 90s.
You know, it's Betamax to VHS time again, Dale.
We've also got Oasis reunion next year, so the 90s really are coming back. But let's get back to the point. The point is this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for our partners and for our customers. And we have that right now, AI now. So what does that mean for our customers? Well, quite frankly, the adoption of AI in a network is a game changer.
Sure.
Okay. If you take any sort of given use case or any sort of vertical that we operate in, and if you were, as a great salesman that you are, Paul, right, that you go to your customer base and you can say, we appreciate your network, Mr. Customer, is the heartbeat of your organization. It's absolutely critical. But if I could say to you, I could reduce your trouble tickets by up to 90%.
Sure.
Or maybe I can reduce your OPEX by up to 85%, okay? Or thirdly, maybe I could, save your time up to 50% to find resolution on some issues and attacks on your network. Well, those three things are huge, but they're only possible through the advent and adoption of AI now, okay? And that's what's game changing. So just think of any customer that you have, Paul, right now.
Yeah,
if you were to go to them with those sort of savings operationally, what would that mean to their business?
Well, we have, and there has been, I think when you discuss those kinds of actual real figures, you can't not take notice, Dale. And from a customer perspective, from our side, when we go and speak to people and we present this, they're super keen to see this, because it's, why wouldn't you?
Exactly. Why wouldn't you? Exactly.
And when you look at some of the user cases out there, which are, Juniper have done some amazing reference sites, etc. And one thing what I've noticed is that customers are actually prepared to come forward and advocate this.
They enjoy it,
and they enjoy it. It's incredible. I mean, obviously, now is not the forum to discuss client names, etc. But we have people right now who are excited at this when they've gone through the process of looking, especially around the missed aspects.
Yes.
It's not only does that technology save them money because in terms of the heat maps, etc. They're using less equipment. The licensing is on point. Unlike other vendors, where they give in one hand but take in another. It's not like that. It's certainly a game changer for sure.
It is. And it's overdue. I really do think it's overdue. Going back to my sort of 90s analogy around timelines.
Sure.
The industry around wireless has kind of been stagnant for a good 15, 20 years. Now, don't get me wrong, it served a great purpose and we've all evolved very nicely, but the adoption of, going back to the iPhone and app stores and cloud-based services and all those sort of things, the technology hasn't really evolved in this space too much. Right?
No, not at all.
We talk a little bit about bolt-ons and marketing spin and add-ons, which is great, but it's not completely revolutionized. Not until Mist came along.
For sure.
And you know the story around that.
Of course.
Right? We acquired Mist back in 2019, and it's been a hell of a journey since then in terms of Juniper and our partners being able to really sort of change the game.
Well, I can remember when that first was taken on, and I was trying to work out who Marvis was. It's like
Do you still know now?
Well, I know a little bit more. We're good friends now.
Yes.
So but like I say, it's really, really exciting times. As I say, I think what's also interesting are this thing works in different verticals.
It does,
and it serves a different purpose for people. So
great use
one
cases.
of our people we're dealing with at the moment, and they're going through some extensive testing. The exciting part of that isn't just the fact that they get better coverage, the fact that it's going to cost substantially less in real terms. The cost of ownership is quantifiable. You can see that exactly as you said in terms of savings against whether it be support tickets, etc., etc. But what they're really, really interested in is the additions that it can do. So where it can collect data, where that data can be leveraged. Ultimately to create a better customer experience for these people.
Do you know what? I'm glad you brought up data. It's a really good point because a lot of the competition say, hey, we see Juniper as the absolute outright leader in the Gartner quadrants in this space. Right? Our competition see that. The customers, they see that. But everyone says, well, maybe the competition will catch up in a few years, 2 or 3 years. Well, I've heard that statement for the last 4 or 5 years.
Well,
and they're still not catching up. My point being is this, data is key. For all the use cases that we have, Without the data, it's just not possible.
Sure.
We are so fortunate that we have 10 years worth of actionable data that our AI is able to act on, that Marvis, your good friend, is able to act on, and to really provide those benefits. Now, we've talked a lot about operational benefits, actually, just right now.
Yeah.
What we haven't spoken about is a lot of the sort of benefits around the user experience.
Exactly.
How that is a key game changer.
Well, like I say, a game changer for this particular client, you know, because what their big go-to is and goal is about elevating customer experience.
Yes. Yeah.
And, you know, I think we touched upon it. I saw a really, really cool quote the other day online, which was around the idea that if AI is the rocket ship, data is the fuel.
Yes, it's a good point.
It's a really, really good point.
It is. And just coming back to that user experience, because you've got some really good customers here, right? You do a lot of retail.
Yep.
You know, if an organization wants to drive a different experience with their customers, how can they monetize the data?
Sure.
How can they provide a better experience for that customer going through the store and providing data and analytics and maybe even things like offers as they're on their Wi-Fi through their devices? You know, take another use case. Higher education.
Sure.
Students, whether it be a 5,000 student university, a 10,000 student university, the network teams now, the C-level of the organization are seeing the benefit of not just having a network that works, but actually having a network that provides the best experience for the students.
Yeah, I see.
Because what does that mean to them? That means a happier student, a better experience, more inclined to talk to their friends about the experience, and more students coming through the doors. Sure. So the benefits now, they're just getting so much more diverse.
Yeah.
It's
as you say, it's an interesting one. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time now, and you know, back in the day, we'd be having these conversations with an IT manager or a network manager. Yes. It's not anymore. These conversations are pitched at C-level because people are interested in outcomes. What is the outcome? You know, how does this change? What does this do for our organization? And it ticks many boxes now. It's you know, for me, you know, an old hand, so to speak. You know, it's really exciting times.
It is.
You know,
and I'll ask you a question. I mean, 5-10 years ago.
Sure.
Maybe you'd have spoke to the network manager.
Yep.
Talked about networking, refreshing, upgrades. That conversation has completely changed.
It's completely changed. I mean, there's still an element of that. But the reality is now that, you know, rather than telling somebody about this new piece of kit and the wonderful flashing lights.
Speeds and feeds,
you know, like it was in the old day. I mean, look, I can remember when we all got giddy about
You've
a
got
10
it in
gig
stock.
optic.
Yes.
So things have changed a lot.
Yes.
You know, where it's based now, and certainly when we're talking about the AI stuff, you know, it's based upon the outcome.
It is.
And what is this going to do for your organization? You know, it used to be like you know, we're not talking about a pain point. It's an old hat conversation. This is about an outcome, a positive outcome. And so when we speak to people now, that conversation is much wider.
It is.
It's you know, it's no longer that narrow conversation at trying to speak to somebody with a network manager. You know, that conversation is much higher up because it affects everybody.
It definitely does. And what we see, and I know we've talked about this before, you're actually talking to different budget stakeholders in the organization.
Of course.
If you take a higher education institution, you know, around location services, which we provide within MIST, you can talk to student services about their budget and how we can impact in a positive way the student experience. So it's no longer just the IT department upgrading the network. It's actually about the experience of the students. Actually, you can tap into new budgets and get new mind share and sort of discussions around how we can all, you know, play the bigger part on this network. So it's just completely changing the buying personas, the buying behaviors, the budget holders, the discussions at board level. Everything is now changing. And it's partners like Kubus that are ahead of that mentality on how to position, how to talk to the right people, and how to deliver these, well, game-changing outcomes.
It genuinely is game-changing. I mean, you touched upon a few moments ago, Gartner. You know, and I can remember back in the day, Dale, there was an old saying that nobody ever got fired for using IBM back in the day. You know, that's how it was.
I'm too young to remember such a thing.
Clearly you are. Sadly, I'm not. But now, you know, it seems to be, if you were to say nobody gets fired for taking note of Gartner, certainly the Gartner leaders, and you know, and thankfully Juniper's been up there like 4 years now, top right-hand corner.
4 years,
The amount of customers who I speak to, where that's pivotal in their decision making. as regards trust, as regards moving forwards. Certainly with this level of decision making, these are big decisions that organisers are taking.
Yes.
I think, again, pivotal. I mean, but, where does Juniper sit on that? I mean, is it a case that that's something, very obviously, Juniper are super proud of, yeah?
Very proud of. But I would say, Paul, technology differentiation and credibility of being the outright leader in your field is an absolute humongous tick in the box, to which we're very, very proud and fortunate. But it takes more ingredients for us to kind of, achieve what we want to achieve. And again, come back to the sort of the true North Star of our organization is that we want to be the number one player in the enterprise networking sector. But to do that, technology is definitely one thing, but partners, having the right partners is another. But also, I will throw into the mix the third ingredient, that it's people.
Sure.
It's not just about having tech and partners, but actually you need the right people. People within Juniper, we're a great team. We're nice to deal with. I like to think we're good people.
For sure.
And that goes to our partners as well. The sales floor down here at Kubus is awash with people who have been in our world for many years now.
Yeah.
They know it's inside out. We're relatable to them. We understand how they work. We are always on the end of the telephone to each other, and we've just got that great relationship that we are instantly accessible.
Sure. I mean, like I say, we've worked together as in our relationship with Juniper for a long time now, and I absolutely agree. I mean, we've worked with many a vendor, and I hear this from more our clients.
Sure. Yeah.
Who speak to other vendors who. I've got this kind of old-fashioned theory that the red carpet should be rolled out for them to visit. And it's just not like that anymore,
No.
And so you're absolutely correct. I mean, for me, working with Juniper, I'm a big advocate of Juniper. We've done extremely well with it, but it's more exactly like you say around the relationships.
It is.
Whereas whether I'm sat with yourself, whether I'm sat with the CEO, it's always the same level of conversation, and long may that continue for us, for sure.
Absolutely, long may it continue.
So Dale, talking of Mist,
yes,
obviously we've discussed some of the many benefits, certainly from an end user client perspective, which I've shared with you. Other things what I think will be very interesting is it's not just about that product on its own.
Okay.
There are alliances that we are aware of, really, really strong alliances. I mean, some of the feedback I get, from the end user base, so to speak, out there, is around the fact that some of the integrations are massively problematic at this moment with other vendors. So if we talk about warehouse retail, for example, the hand scanners,
yes,
massive problems with that, etc. Is there anything you can tell us about those alliances? Where does it sit? Where's the fix into Mist?
Yes, well, it's a really good question because it links into Juniper of old, I would say,
Sure.
our legacy organization, and the new one. Juniper, as you know, we've always been incredibly open around integrations, alliances, not to be a lock-in vendor.
Sure.
Without naming names, right? We are very open to collaborating with technology organizations, with partners, and just with a real true ecosystem to provide the best service, the best solution at the heart of the customer's needs.
Sure.
And I think you can only achieve that when you are truly an open, collaborative vendor. And I think that's a really good starting point. If you take a look at warehousing, logistics,
Sure.
we have a very strong alliance and integration with Zebra,
Sure.
as an example.
Industry leader, yeah.
Absolutely,
So, yeah.
Where our technologies work harmlessly together. We collaborate super well in terms of the integration of the tech to provide the customer with the best of breed solution. And that's
Sure.
just one great example of how we sort of collaborate with the leading organizations. Another good example would be ServiceNow.
Sure.
And around obviously the operational benefits that we discussed, the support ticketing, and also Cradlepoint, worth a mention, I think.
Yeah,
in terms
I think I saw the wonderful Liz Fraser actually.
Oh, yeah.
Did I kind of like this, a kind of podcasty type thing online.
Okay.
And she was talking about the Cradlepoint relationship,
Yeah.
really good, yeah.
Yeah, so, I bumped into them in Copenhagen last week, I think it was.
Sure.
Every event that Juniper really does, which we do a lot in terms of going around Europe, to be with our partners and customers, talking about the technology and, many other topics. we always try to make sure that our alliance partners, like Cradlepoint, are really with us to talk about their benefits, extended benefits,
Sure.
in any given vertical or scenario. And that's great value to the people that are attending. So it's not just a sort of narrow Juniper view of the world.
Yeah.
It's a more open, collaborative view of how we can all work seamlessly together to provide the best solutions for our customers.
So Dale, we touched upon obviously Kubus being an Elite Plus partner.
Yes.
One of a handful in the country. As you know, we've also recently sort of embraced the UK go-to-market strategy, one team, one plan.
Love it.
Which I'm super excited about, as are the guys downstairs, etc. We absolutely see the value. What can you explain a little bit more around that, please?
One team, one plan. It's incredibly important for us and our partners. As we go into this new world of AI, we have to ensure that we embrace the opportunity ahead. And that can only be done through absolute focus, but also collaboration. The heartbeat of the one team, one plan strategy is that collaborative effort. So we work with our Elite Plus partners, very much like yourselves, to provide a collaborative framework around understanding what verticals, what go-to-markets, what technologies, and underpin that with a collaboration framework, which we call LEA. And you're very much familiar with this. The importance to the whole strategy is so clear to me, that we are just working as one team. That when we go to a prospect or a customer, that they get the same message by a unified team. Because as we mentioned earlier, when we come to buying cycles, ecosystems, buying behaviors, buying personas, it's all getting more complex, okay? And how we tackle that is by working as one team together.
So Dale, we've covered so much today, talking about where we are, obviously Juniper, go-to-market, etc. But what does the future hold for Juniper? Are you excited for the future?
Oh yes, no, really. It's going to be a really incredible year ahead. Not just for Juniper, but for everybody concerned, our partners, our colleagues, everybody. It's going to be phenomenal.
Sure.
Because the way I look at things is Juniper is on a great journey. It has been for many years. You and I have been very lucky to be part of that journey for a long time, and will continue to be so. That our goal remains intact. That we want to be the number one player in our space. Of the enterprise networking world, that we want to be the number one market shareholder. And the way that we're going to do that is through hard work, having the best technology, having the best partners, having the best go-to-markets, and having a great time doing it. So for me, I'm really excited about the future. I think the next year could be one of the best years in our history going forward. So incredibly excited. And I hope you are as well. As a key partner, Elite Plus partner, I'm hoping that you guys are excited about the year ahead as well.
And that's the professional side of things covered.
Yes.
Outside of work, what are we going to do there? What are the plans for the year ahead? What can we do?
Well, hopefully we can get into Europe.
Of course, the Europe qualification is on track right now after 5 games.
Absolutely, we're there and thereabouts.
Yep.
So long may that continue. I'll probably see you in 2 weeks at the City Ground.
Sure.
And there's lots of things happening. We've got Formula 1 events coming up, which we're bringing our partners through to. We've got a lot of Forest games for you and I, which I'm really looking forward to. And maybe even a big Oasis gig
next year. The mighty Oasis,
yes.
The mighty Oasis
So lots going on. But in between all of that good stuff is the sales floor and getting all of this stuff going again. So looking forward to that.
So guys, that wraps up today's podcast. I'd like to thank my guest, Dale Smith.
You're welcome, mate. Thank you.
And obviously, thank you for joining us. We hope it's been informative, and we look forward to welcoming you to the next instalment. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at the Kubus podcast. We hope you enjoyed the chat. Remember, there are more conversations in the series. Just search for Kubus wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe.